Hi everybody. For people that don't know me, my name's Ollie Bray, and I currently work for Education Scotland. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody that's joined us on the call this evening. I'm just going to make a few opening remarks, but the main bulk of this session is really over to our three schools that have kindly agreed to kind of present to you this evening. I want to start off really by thanking them. As you're all aware, the new directions around return to school and going back to school next week has come as a bit of a surprise. I think it has come as a bit of a surprise to every single one of us that is on this call. And I am internally grateful for the three schools that have offered this evening to come on board to look at the guidance and then to share with us how they've interpreted that locally. The key here is really around local interpretation, what it means for your school, what it means for your learners, and what it means for your community, and that is incredibly important. And I really want to sort of set the tone that, that the purpose of this call is not to critique the models that the schools are using. If anything, the purpose of this is to really kind of say, hey, you're doing a great job working in pretty tricky circumstances, trying to solve a pretty difficult problem. Not an impossible problem, I have to say, but certainly a tricky problem. And from the conversations that I had with all three of these schools on Friday, we've really got some quite innovative and different solutions to each of these based on local context. The sort of the format of this session then really is, as I say, it's not providing schools with the answers, but it's about providing with a number of different ideas which are appropriate for different contexts. There are some things that I know that the schools will mention that you will think to yourself, that would not work in my school and that would not work in my community. But we're hoping that throughout all three of the presentations, there will be at least one thing or two things that people can take away, which might help you with your planning over the next sort of two or 3 weeks. So if you just join the call, just to let you know that we are recording this session. We want to sort of try and capture some of the bits and package that so it can be used again. But we're not capturing the chat. We're just capturing the video part of it, and we'll share any kind of notes or sort of key learnings away afterwards. I'd really encourage you to use the chat as we go through this session as well. I'd like to encourage you to use it for praise for the schools that are out there that are going to present their models, but also to ask any questions that you might have as well, and we can kind of pick those up at the end. The format of the session will be then is we're going to have Dunoon Grammar School to present first, then Grove Academy, and then Kingussie High School. So three different schools in three very, very different contexts. We've asked each of the schools to present for about 10 minutes, and we'll give the schools an 8-minute warning. I know that it's difficult to fit some of these timetable models into the 10 minutes because some of them are incredibly complex in terms of what you've got planned. But just to give people on the call a flavour in terms of what's going on. So 10 minutes to present the findings. We've asked schools really to think about to explain their local context, that you can understand that, including things like buses, buildings, and the balance of the senior phase and the broad general education that are coming in with 3 Bs, as we started to call it. And we've asked them to openly share the challenges that they've got, and also some of the solutions that either they've come up with now, or perhaps some of the solutions that we could work together as a group to help them go through. So without further ado, then what I want to do is I want to pass over to Dave and Paul, who will introduce themselves and then set the scene for Dunoon Grammar School.
Thanks, Ollie. I think Paul's going to press the magic button and present. There we are. Thanks, and good afternoon. As Ollie said, my name's David Mitchell. I'm the head teacher of Dunoon Grammar School, and I'm joined tonight by Paul Gallagher, who's one of our deputy head teachers, who you're going to hear from in a short while. I'd like to start by giving you a brief overview of our school before sharing our thinking and our plans for the phased return. As you can see, our school roll at the moment is sitting at 702, and that's split with 393 senior phase young people and 309 broad general education young people. Our free meal entitlement is 13.1%, and our young people come from SIMD SL1 to 7, although we only have 6 young people in SIMD 7, majority are in SIMD 5. Something that we had to take into consideration, as I'll talk about the challenges, was transporting our young people to school. We've got 263 young people that are transported on a daily basis, and we also have a school hostel which accommodates 32 young people during the week. So we had to take that into consideration as part of the planning as well. Now, We're absolutely delighted, like everyone, to be welcoming our young people back to our school. But as you can see from this slide, like you, we've had to come across or solve many challenges and take them into consideration as part of our planning. And we wanted to make sure we had a model that worked for our school, our young people, and fit our school context. And I'm sure if you're like us, your senior leadership teams will have had some very robust and challenging conversations with each other before agreeing plans. But I do have to think that the biggest challenge is not just about what's up there on the screen. I think my biggest challenge is going to fit into my suit next week after lockdown. Anyway, we have, as I said, I want to highlight some of these challenges. And the first one I want to highlight is transport. And as I said, 263 of our young people travel on a daily basis. And this meant that we were unable to provide half-day sessions and we had to deliver full-day sessions. We had to take that into consideration when we were timetabling. And we also had to work with school transport and the local bus company to ensure that there was appropriate vehicles on each route to allow our young people to travel to school following the 1 metre social distancing on school transport. Another issue was our 32 young people that reside in our school hostel Monday to Friday, and we liaised closely with the hostel manager to discuss their capacity as they couldn't accommodate everyone at once to ensure that they were following their own guidance. So our model allows for our young people to come back and stay in the hostel when they're in school, and it also allows the hostel staff to sanitise the rooms and the building before the next group arrives. One of our main challenges, like all of us, would be ensuring that we could accommodate all our pupils and particularly in the senior phase. Now, we undertook a lot of that work in June as part of the phased return planning, looking at the capacity for each room. And we also had to consider how we were going to use our larger spaces, such as our games hall, our 2 gymnasiums, our assembly room and our school forum. And these are areas now that we are going to be using for subjects with larger numbers, such as maths, English, science and social subjects. And again, we had to take that into consideration when producing our model. We also wanted to continue providing a high quality learning experience for our young people. And although this is challenging with larger numbers, and although we have a healthy school role, we still have 1-member departments. We purchased a number of webcams and microphones, and this will allow lessons to be streamed from one classroom to another because our capacity in a room is 10. For example, in geography, we have 18 higher geography young people, so that will be split into 2 rooms and the teacher will stream his lesson from one room to the other and then support the young people by moving from room to room along with a number of our support assistants. Like everyone, we've been working through the daily operational aspects of our school, looking at breaks and lunch times, entering and exiting the building, the 2 metre distancing, and we're going to be providing staggered breaks for our S5 and S6, and our S4 young people will be taking their breaks in the PE department. Our S1 and S2 and S3 young people, as you'll see from our model, will be able to have their lunch in the school forum. Our model, as you'll see from the next slide, prioritises our senior phase young people, giving them 3 face-to-face days and 2 online days to consolidate their learning. And we'll also be providing additional time for practical subjects on a Thursday and Friday. We've also targeted a number of senior young people who have been struggling during the course of lockdown or not managing to finish their coursework, and we were giving them additional support on a Thursday and Friday also, and we want to give them every opportunity to achieve their potential. The well-being of our staff and young people has been key to all our planning, and we've kept staff updated throughout the whole process and asked for feedback to ensure that they're comfortable with our plans, and our guidance staff will continue to support our young people when they return, along with our youth workers, our school life coach and our school counsellor, and they'll do that as they return. Now, moving on to the model, you can see that we've developed 3 learning blocks each day, and that's going to keep movement down to a minimum. S5 and S6 young people will receive a double learning block for each column, except for one of the columns, column E, and that will be rotated each week so that column E the following week will be given a double session. Our S4 young people who study 7 subjects will receive a 2-hour learning block each week for their subject. However, we decided that Maths and English will receive 2 learning inputs throughout that. And again, on a Thursday and a Friday, that will give our senior pupils time to consolidate their learning, and they'll be given some online inputs from the staff at that point as well. Now, Paul's been working on our broad general education provision, so I'm just going to hand over to him just now.
Yeah, just a very quick overview of the content and the context of our learning. We're delighted. At first, we were a wee bit shocked to hear about S1 and S3's requirement for them to come back, but it's a fantastic opportunity and it's a real positive to have them back in a building. And our main focus for them will be in health and wellbeing, the socialising aspects, but to make sure they can make that transition back into working within the physical school environment. So again, there'll be 3 blocks per day, each day that they're with us. A key focus on individual personal health and wellbeing. These sessions will be delivered by heads of house and heads of year to have that one-to-one contact with the young people. The afternoons will be outdoor education, where our young people will be participating in a number, again, personal health and wellbeing, but also an opportunity to showcase the opportunity for renewal within our wider community. So we're looking to get our kids involved in beach cleans, litter picks, etc., subject to appropriate risk assessment, subject to appropriate PPE, and whatever the theme of the national e-learning offer, we'll be looking to harness that within outdoor learning too. So we've got a number of partners involved in outdoor learning, and the young people will have a variety of experiences as a result. But the key focus will be on, while the young people are working from home, is that we'll be making use of the national e-learning offer. We've benefited as a school in the past from this during this academic year. We had a number of young people that had to self-isolate due to an outbreak of COVID in the school, and we were able to those young people were able to benefit from live inputs from eSchool. We've also had young people participating in study support, making use of West OS resources, and the likes of DYW Live. Some of you will be aware that there's 31 courses available from some fantastic partners available from Education Scotland and eSchool, working together with these partners to make these fantastic learning experiences available to our young people. So we've benefited greatly, and we know the quality of the NELO resources, and we're delighted then to be harnessing the Sustainable Scotland project, which is a coming together Education Scotland, eSchool and West OS, working with partners such as Keep Scotland Beautiful too. So Monday to Wednesday, our young people will be making use of these resources at home. There's live sessions, there is pre-records, and when they're with us, we will then continue with whatever the theme has been for that week. It will be a feature of the outdoor learning, but then we'll have challenges, really exciting challenges that will motivate, because we've witnessed a wee dip with our BGE pupils in terms of their online engagement, but I think this is a real opportunity to freshen it up and renew, and that's the sort of theme that we're wanting. We're wanting health and wellbeing, we're wanting renewal. It's a fresh start, it's really positive, it's exciting, and we're delighted then to be using these resources, which we know will be top drawer, because we have benefited from similar resources throughout this academic year. So we'll certainly be harnessing these the Monday to Wednesday when the young people are at home, and then continuing to apply the focus within the in-school learning and outdoor learning that we have planned for them when they're with us. So that is just a wee small flavour of what to expect, what our young people will expect when they come to join us, the S1s, S3s. Over to you, David. You've got 1 minute.
Thanks, Paul. Excellent. We're rushing through it. It's great. Communication and consultation has played a massive part in our planning, and we've tried to keep all our stakeholders up to date through the whole process. And this has been done by issuing weekly newsletters to our parents and carers via our Expressions app. But we also have a weekly news vlog, which is sent to parents and carers via our YouTube channel, just to share information, share what we're trying to do, and we put at the end of it a question and answering session asking for parents and carers to be able to ask us questions. So that's been really beneficial, and it's been brilliant because we've had our young people back in the building, and we've been able to interview them and get them to share their own experiences of being at home and as part of the practical phase return. And next week, our vlog's going to involve our head boy and head girl, who are going to be sharing all our plans regarding the phase return starting the 15th of March, which will include entering and exiting and what lunch is going to look like, etc. So that's been a really useful exercise, but we've also consulted with our parent council and ensuring they're happy with our plans, and also with our senior pupil leadership team and our junior pupil leadership team, trying to ensure that they've all had a say in how this is going to look so that they're taking ownership of it. And we've also been meeting with our weekly principal teacher meeting and with the whole staff meetings just to keep them updated. So that's a very brief and quick overview of what's happening in Dunoon Grammar School. I hope we've managed to keep to our 10 minutes. It's hard for Paul and I, but thanks for listening to our journey, and I'm going to hand back over to Ollie.
Thanks both Paul and David. And again, if you've got any sort of specific questions around that, then please put the questions in the chat. Just maybe wanted to summarise a couple of things there. So first of all, we said loads. So thanks so much for that. It was a very, very quick 10 minutes because what you said was incredibly rich. I also heard a virtual sigh of relief from a number of head teachers and senior leaders on the call when they realised they didn't have a school hostel to contend with, as well as all of the other issues that they've got going on as well. So you mentioned lots of things there in terms of student accommodation, the challenges that you've got with transport, so half days aren't possible. You talked about using large areas within the school to transition into classrooms for big groups. You said some interesting things around web streaming to kind of split class as well, and your investment in webcams and technologies. All really, really interesting ideas. The notion of staggered breaks, but also being quite prescriptive, I think, where you're asking young people to go during those staggered breaks to protect their own health and safety and well-being. I thought it was great that there was a strong focus throughout your presentation on the well-being of pupils, but I absolutely love that you also mentioned the well-being of staff as well. And I think, as school leaders and senior leaders, we're all worried about that at the moment, and the more that we can do there, the better. I thought it was great that you've changed your timetable to these kind of 3 learning blocks per day, not appropriate for all parts of Scotland, but that seems to be working for you within your model as well. And I thought it was really interesting, what you were doing with the BGE. So again, the focus on health and well-being, and the use of the national e-learning offer, but quite cleverly, I think, then using the physical outdoor learning activities when the children are in school in the local community to build on that sustainability theme within your local area as well. So really, really, really good stuff there, and I'm sure there'll be other questions, and we're going to we'll pick questions and stuff up at the end, but we'll move into the next presentation. But just a big thank you for me. And